binary reality check, hit subscribe, like, and all that other stuff. Okay, so now we're on chapter 4 of the second part, or the third part. No, second part, alchemy and eschatology. This one is we're going to get a lot more complex as we go through the next few chapters. I'm going to be showing you a lot of illustrations because this is really the crux of the astronomical part of what we're trying to say. This here is called an armillary sphere. It's how they used to find like places in the zodiac. So this is the zodiac. This was used in like the 1500s. That's the Earth in the center. And then the zodiac, which is on this band here. All the signs of the zodiac are on this band. And so this band actually represents the galaxy. And if you look through Scorpio Sagittarius, especially if you live up 8,000 feet like where I live, away from major cities, you can actually see the bulging of the center of the galaxy. It's right through Sagittarius and Scorpio. The archer of Sagittarius appears to be shooting his arrow right through the center of the galaxy, and the Scorpion is pointing his tail right at the center of the galaxy. And so people tell you that you can't see the center of the galaxy. Well, you can't technically see it, but you can see it with, you know, there's just a big lot of blurry, milky stars right between Sagittarius and Scorpio, and that's exactly where the center of the galaxy is. So these armillary spheres were the way that the alchemists could determine when it was time to do their experiments. Very important, because timing is almost as important as the experiment itself, which is really the whole point of this book. Okay, this is chapter 4, the Ancient Illuminated Astronomy, section 1, Hebrew Illuminism. In the divinely built New Jerusalem, as we saw in John's revelation, the tree of life will stand on the banks of the river of the waters of life. This suggests that the new heaven and the new earth promised to John in the book of Revelation would in fact be a literal return to the Garden of Paradise. The Chileans thought so. They saw in this divine recreation a chance to indulge in the innocent joys of a purified humanity. They quite naturally assumed that since the recreated paradise had no tree of knowledge of good and evil, the original cause of the fall of man into sinfulness, there could be no such thing as sin in the New Jerusalem. Origen and the other fathers of the Orthodox Church disliked this interpretation, but even they could not completely remove the idea of a transformed reality, complete with transformed body, from the Orthodox eschatology. The Gnostic view was that matter could be redeemed or animated by an apocalyptic event. The apocalypse then was a chance for the sparks of light to return to the big light. This Gnostic concept remained at the heart of the official Orthodox apocalypse. Christianity emerged from the political turmoil of the first century Palestine. This was truly an apocalyptic moment in Jewish history. Christianity has not become a universalist religion until after the end of the world for the Jews. 6.5 centuries to the day after Nebuchadnezzar's armies destroyed Solomon's temples, Roman forces, and under the soon-to-be Emperor Titus, sacked and burned the temple of Herod and drove the Jews from Israel. This was the end of the world, far greater than the Babylonian captivity. Cyrus the Great allowed the Jews to return from Babylon after a generation or so. The new Babylon on the Tiber, Rome, never allowed the Jews to return. 1,878 years and many more apocalypses would pass before a Jewish nation returned to Palestine. we saw how Christianity slowly became an orthodoxy and then miraculously the imperial religion of the hated Romans. By the late 6th century, when imperial orthodoxy was firmly in the driver's seat of the Roman military machine, Judaism was the only tolerated non-orthodox form of religion. This does not mean that the Roman Christians saw the Jews as equals. It was against the law to intermarry and for Jews to own real property, such as land. But they were at least accepted as serving one useful purpose, that of scapegoats. Since the Christians could no longer blame Rome for Christ's death, the blame shifted to the Jews. This created the basic rationalization for 1,000 years of Christian persecution. The origin of anti-Semitism lies in the imperial Orthodox Church's institutionalization of the apocalypse. After the fall of the Temple of Jerusalem in 66 CE, the largest Jewish communicants were centered around Alexandria in Egypt and the old city of Babylon in Mesopotamia. A few Jewish communities remained in Palestine, most notably the spiritual community at Safed near Tel Aviv on the east shore of the Mediterranean. The mystical Jews of Safed would retain their foothold in the Holy Land right down to the 20th century. Unlike Christianity, which denounced its mystical origins as heresy, Judaism retained a powerful connection with those same mystical roots. Our earliest alchemical text, Isis the prophetess to her son Horus, points to an Egyptian Hebraic source for its transformational philosophy. Interestingly enough, a Hebrew contemporary of the author of the Isis the prophetess story, Rabbi Nehunina, I'm gonna get that right. You got it. Nehunina ben Hakana revealed to his students the magical technology behind these transformational processes. In the later centuries of the dispersion, his teachings would form the basis of the traditional Kabbalah. Compared to the anonymous author of Isis the prophetess, Rabbi Nehunina ben Hakana was well known to Jewish sage. His few mentions in the Talmud have no doubt about the important position he occupied in the early Talmudic era. The mystical teachings inspired a whole generation of Jewish sages. However, from the perspective of our inquiry into the origins of alchemy, his importance lies in the authorship of the teaching document known as the Bahir. The oldest and most influential of all Kabbalistic texts, the Bahir, or the Illumination, it's from Job 37:21, and now they do not see light, it is illumination, Bahir, in the skies. It was also called the Midrash Rabbi Nehuyana, to emphasize his authorship. This is unusual since Rabbi Nehuyana is quoted only once in the first verse. However, Rabbi Amore, perhaps a pseudonym for Rabbi Nehuyana, is cited 9 times. Amore means speakers and indicates that he was the spokesman of a committee or a group of sages. If this was Rabbi Nehuyana, then he must have felt he was speaking for the whole tradition as well as his immediate group. Although the Bahir is the primary text of the Kabbalah, it does not use that term. Kabbalah, from the Greek root QBL, means received or given, came into fashion much later when the teachings of the first century mystics were indeed just received traditions. The sages of the Bahir preferred the more ancient term Marat Markaba, literally workings of the chariot. The name possesses connotations of an active mystical experience as opposed to received tradition. The Bahir combines the ideas of the work of creation, animating matter, with the radical concept of a celestial projection as a way to return to the divine source. By juxtapositioning those ideas, the Bahir reveals the secret at the heart of alchemy. So that's the end of that section. We're going to get, like I said, more and more complex. I wanted to point out a couple things here. The illustration at the beginning of our chapter here, a very important illustration. So this is an alchemical illustration, and what we see is the four directions of the earth. This is the earth, the four directions. Then you see this diagonal cutting through here. Well, that's exactly where the center of the galaxy goes through, just like in this Armillary sphere. So we can see that a very, very big alchemical drawing is pointing out that somehow the center of the galaxy is super important to our alchemy. And we'll get into that as we go forward. The next chapter and the one after that are going to get a little complex. I'll be using a lot of imagery to show you how we show that alchemy is also about timing and astronomy, or astrology, as you might say. So anyway, that's it. I'm Jay Widener. This has been Reality Check. Thank you very much for watching. And I think you'll find that the show that's coming up on Saturday, Alchemy in the Golden Age with Crow 777, is you're going to really like that one. And then the private members should know that we're doing a Q&A on Friday just for the private members. I'll be answering a lot of your questions. I am going to be doing a talk soon. I haven't decided whether I'm going to do it on private or public, because it's kind of a dicey talk, but on Rudolf Steiner's concepts about Ahriman, Lucifer, and Christ. A really dynamic discussion, but could get pretty controversial. Anyway, I'm Jay Widener, and really, truly appreciate you guys, and thank you for watching. This is Jay Widener, Reality Check, and we're starting a membership plan for content that we don't normally want to put up on some of these platforms, and I want you to join. We're not going to stop doing the regular shows. We're just adding content. Be a lot more one-on-one stuff with me, and I think you guys will find it really interesting. So we'll put it up here below, how you can get into the membership plan, and please join. I'm Jay Widener, and thanks for watching.